Boa noite, Bajor! Boa noite, bajoranas e bajoranos! Este aqui é um plantão especial do Café Neutrino, trazendo para vocês, sei lá, eu ia falar um esclarecimento, mas as coisas estão tão complicadas que parece quase que impossível usar essa palavra. Você sabe que há coisa de algumas semanas rolava o boato de que a Kathleen Kennedy, a toda poderosa imperatriz do mal e praticamente dona da Lucasfilm dentro da Disney, houve o anúncio de que ela estava com a faca no pescoço, de que se ela não conseguisse 900 milhões de Bidens por esse próximo filme de Indiana Jones, ela estaria, como dizem no beisebol, out! Pois bem, houve mudanças absurdas, ou não, que aconteceram na Star Wars Celebration, que é carinhosamente apelidada por alguns youtubers de Star Wars Cremation. Estava sendo previsto que esse evento de Star Wars seria o anúncio do afastamento lento e gradual dessa senhora dos holofotes, até que ela desaparecesse suavemente com o seu bônus e uma mais do que espetacular aposentadoria garantida. Só que o evento trouxe duas coisas curiosas. A primeira foi uma entrevista em que ela diz que nunca houve qualquer contato com Kevin Feige a respeito de um possível filme de Star Wars, embora ele jure de pé junto que estava trabalhando nisso. Ela deu a entender, numa entrevista em que ela ficou, aliás, bastante irritada com a entrevistadora, que não devia ser uma moça, digamos, do círculo de confiança dela, não estava ensaiada, e ela perguntou sobre os atrasos e adiamentos. E daí a Kathleen Kennedy disse que nunca houve atrasos e adiamentos e que tudo acontece de acordo com os planos. E daí, de uma hora para outra, ela anuncia um filme da Rey Palpatine, daquela moça, Mary Sue, da Jedi do lixão, que já nasceu sabendo tudo. Ela nunca saiu daquele planetinha miserável. A coisa mais complexa que ela pilota é um speeder, uma aeromoto que parece com um sorvetão. E de uma hora para outra ela ganha a capacidade de se tornar uma super expert, piloto estelar. Depois ela domina a força sem treinamento. E uma lista de absurdices. Isso nem é uma palavra, né? Pois é, uma lista de absurdos maior do que o Shaquille O'Neal. Então foi uma surpresa, na verdade, porque aparentemente a Disney em si, a Disney que está, digamos, um nível de magnitude acima da Lucasfilm, que é uma subdivisão da Disney, para bom entendedor, Bob Iger, o próprio, o dito cujo, não sabia desse anúncio. E há quem diga que esse anúncio foi uma tentativa desesperada da Kathleen Kennedy de se manter no poder. E como funcionaria isso? Funciona assim. Ela reúne a Daisy Ridley, coitada, que estava com a agenda bem vaga, já que ninguém contrata mais ela depois de Star Wars. Ela só fez um filme, até onde eu sei, que foi aquele Chaos Walking, com o guri que fazia o Homem-Aranha, da Marvel. E o resultado, então, ela, que deve estar com uma agenda bem vaga, foi convidada e entrou de surpresa lá no evento, sendo saudada e tal, não sei por quem, por alguém. Não por muitos, na verdade. E o fato é que a imperatriz do mal, a Kathleen Kennedy, aproveitou para fazer o que ela faz, divulgar trocentos projetos. Tem muita gente apostando que isso aí é bravata, que talvez 1 ou 2, no máximo, dessas coisas venham a enxergar a luz do dia. Então fica a dúvida. Talvez o maior motivo dela se manter como presidente da Lucasfilm até hoje seja o fato de que ela tem dossiês, rabo preso, de muita gente, dentro da Lucasfilm, dentro da Disney, dentro da própria Hollywood. E que, se ela fosse, digamos, defenestrada, ela causaria um prejuízo muito grande na saída. Então, uma das teorias que está rolando, dos insiders, como o Cameron Pasha, que é aquele roteirista, produtor, amigo do youtuber Doomcock, que eu já devo ter mostrado aqui um outro vídeo deles comentando. Uma possibilidade é que ela tenha usado isso como argumento, que ela tenha feito aquele espetáculo, aquele holofote, e usado isso para convencer o Bob Iger. Não que o Bob Iger não possa demiti-la, ele pode, mas eu consigo quase que ouvi-la perguntando: será que vale a pena me demitir mesmo? Eu posso fazer tanto estrago. Será que não dá para esperar mais uns 4, 5 anos e tal? Que seria o tempo que ela precisaria para sair por cima, seja lá o que for isso. É um cenário complexo, mas dá para ver uma coisa. Dá para ver que é uma guerra de egos. O que está sustentando ela lá, muito provavelmente, são esses dossiês e uma capacidade de articulação. Não articulação no sentido de negociar, mas no sentido de negociar prejuízos. Como quem diz: o que vocês preferem? Um tiroteio ou um bombardeio nuclear? Vamos pensar no que é melhor, né? Um tiroteio com algumas centenas, dezenas de mortos, ou uma bomba, sei lá, 100 vezes a capacidade de Hiroshima, né? Aquela coisa de contenção de danos. Então, por essas e outras, eu achei interessante a gente ver a conversa do Doomcock com o Cameron Pasha, que pode ser bastante ilustrativa sobre o que deve estar acontecendo lá nos subterrâneos da Lucasfilm e, mais importante do que isso, como é que deve ser a relação dela agora com o Bob Iger, que provavelmente, assim como o resto da Disney, não tinha a menor ideia do que ia acontecer na Star Wars Celebration. O que mostra que essa mulher é realmente diabólica no sentido de, digamos, subverter as expectativas. Essa sim sabe como subverter as expectativas. Vamos ver, então, aqui a conversa desses dois insiders que têm contatos lá dentro da Disney e da Lucasfilm.
Star Wars Cremation 2023 came and went with an announcement of a Rey movie that shocked and disgusted fans, and Episode 7 of The Mandalorian was so awful, it left little doubt in my mind that Star Wars is no longer a viable franchise. I said it all along. The minute I became convinced that Star Wars is headed towards intersecting with and supporting the hated sequel trilogy, I'm done with this crap. Well, my friends, all these developments seem to indicate, at least to my satisfaction, that Star Wars is FUBAR, and I am no longer emotionally engaged by anything Disney creates at Lucasfilm, because now I see that every time they slap the words Star Wars on a project, they're lying. My wallet remains closed to Disney, as it has been since The Force Awakens was released. I will continue to chart the downward death spiral of Star Wars under Disney, because it will at least be amusing to watch them self-destruct as they pay for their lack of vision. We deserve deserve at least that modicum of section. To that end, even though it seems a bit academic at this point, due to how The Mandalorian has pretty much finished off Star Wars forever, given the skepticism regarding the reality of the Rey movie announcement in The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and Cinema Blend, among others, some are asking the questions, is the Rey movie really happening? What happened to the Viking funeral for Kennedy that Sparrow predicted? And does Star Wars have a future? I myself no longer believe Star Wars has any future at all, so long as it's owned by Disney. But to present his viewpoint on these issues, I have invited my friend Cameron Pashaw to come on and give his take on what happened at Star Wars cremation and to convey the latest update he has received from his source inside Lucasfilm, codenamed Sparrow. But before we begin, I'd like to address one important point. People have been asking me, Doomcock, what happened to the Viking funeral for Kennedy? To which I have replied, I have no idea. You need to ask Cameron that question. Folks, what you need to realize is Sparrow is not my source. I've never had any interactions at all with Sparrow. Sparrow is Cameron's source exclusively. And while my Hollywood spies and Sparrow have agreed at times in the past, my spies never heard anything about any Viking funeral. And so I'm grateful that Cameron has agreed to come on my show and address these questions I cannot answer, and to share what his sources claimed about this whole Rey movie situation.
What's up?
Hi, Jira. Here today to let you know that we made the business decision to switch to ClickUp. Your performance has been decreased.
Now, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about what happened at Star Wars Celebration in regards to the Viking funeral. Now, people have been asking me quite a bit, well, what happened to the Viking funeral? And I said, well, I don't know. I have never met Sparrow. Sparrow is not my source. Sparrow is Cameron's source. Cameron has a lot of faith in Sparrow, has met Sparrow and spoken personally with Sparrow, but I have not. This is not a source. Now, it turns out that Sparrow often coincides with things that my sources are telling me, but I hadn't heard anything about the Viking funeral, and so I thought, well, I don't know. I said, I'll ask Cameron, and
people
so
have been asking
I'm
me.
asking you.
People on my Patreon have been asking me, right? And so when I put the report out about the Viking funeral, the idea being that this celebration would be a celebration of Kathleen Kennedy, would be all about her great accomplishments, and it wouldn't be like her saying I'm resigning. People misinterpreted that. I was like, no, she's not going to say I'm quitting. It would be all about her.
No, you never said that.
No, it's all about her glorious. Look at what she did, Indiana Jones, long history and blah 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 blah, and the press packets were structured around that. That's where this conversation started with Sparrow. Sparrow had seen the press packets that were being sent out about a month ago, right, to the media, and said the press ain't talking. The press packets ain't talking about Star Wars. They talk about Kathleen Kennedy. That says something. And then Sparrow did some digging around. Well, why are the press packets just talking about her and not these projects, right? And so after Sparrow's internal communication, they came back with, it looks like that this, let me give context now. This is exactly, you can go back, and those who are on my picture, can go back and look at the original article, which is that this is something Iger is forcing down her throat, because they said Iger's arrangement with when she's leaving is that the sign of that will be she'll be given a very glorious reception at this year's Star Wars Celebration, and that will allow her to have her crown, her scepter, and then this summer after Indiana Jones, she'll be able to dignifyly retire, and did it with lots of fanfare. That's it. And Sparrow said at the time, and I reported in my original article, she didn't want to do it. Sparrow said she resisted it and was telling Iger she didn't want this. She wanted, because she's saying this is creating the impression that I'm leaving.
Aí vocês vejam, então, que aparentemente estava realmente tudo programado para ser a grande despedida dela, para eles mostrarem como ela é incrível, maravilhosa, espetacular, fantástica e tal, mesmo não sendo, só para ver se livravam dela. E bateu um Doctor Who nela e ela resolveu dizer "But I don't wanna go", né? Ela não quer ir, ela não quer partir e tal. E provavelmente ela sentiu isso e resolveu contra-atacar fazendo outro desses anúncios bombásticos, né? O grande problema, a meu ver, na minha humilde opinião, de pobre índio sul-americano del pueblo, né, é que ela acha que convence alguém, porque ela é campeã de fazer anúncios de coisas que não se concretizaram. A coisa de uns 3 anos atrás, um pouco antes da pandemia, acho que 4, ela falou a respeito de que... Não, minto, uns 2 ou 3 anos atrás, ela falou a respeito de um filme que eles iriam produzir, que seria uma história totalmente original, que não pertenceria a Lucasfilm, baseado num romance de ficção científica de uma autora lá que ela gosta. Esse projeto não chegou sequer a entrar em pré-produção. E, no entanto, eles chegaram a mostrar o logo. Ela é muito boa em mostrar logos. A gente vê aquele montão de loguinhos, etc., né? Vocês podem lembrar que o próprio Obi-Wan Kenobi, o sem-teto de Tatooine, originalmente era para ser um filme. Demorou tanto que resolveram fazer uma minissérie. E o resultado foi aquela coisa lamentável que todo mundo viu. Então, eu não sei. Tudo vai depender agora, talvez no desespero, do tamanho do rabo preso que o Iger tiver. É possível que muita gente da confiança do Iger esteja na lista da Kathleen Kennedy. Mas eu suspeito que, se ela continuar trazendo prejuízos, ele é capaz de considerar perder, sei lá, 1 ou 2 dedos para... Essa é meu modesto palpite.
Because it's so
Right.
yeah, and I don't want to create the impression that I'm leaving, because I want to be there for another 5 years, right? And I go, so I ain't going to be here another 5 years. And so they argued about this. This is in my original report about she did not want to do this. And so what I believe has happened is that, and as far as reporting, nobody knew about these announcements internally at Lucasfilm outside of her immediate inner circle. Nobody knew about these announcements. And so she was like, all right, I'm gonna teach Iger a lesson. He rammed this down my throat. He humiliated me in my one-on-one meeting, which both of us reported, right? Now I'm gonna embarrass him publicly. I'm gonna do the one thing he doesn't expect. I'm gonna announce all these projects he hasn't given me any permission for. I'm going to turn the narrative from Viking funeral of look at all your greatest accomplishments, here's your trophy, to I'm going to be here for another 10 years because I got all these projects in the works. She flipped the announcement and she didn't tell anybody. And she did it on purpose because she never wanted to do this, because this is her stabbing into the heart of Iger. And literally, as you and I talked just before we went live, this is her essentially saying, what are you going to do? You're going to fire me? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You think I'm Alonso? What are you going to do to me? Well, she's challenging him. And I think...
É um duelo mexicano, né? A pistola de um apontada para a barriga do outro. A queima-roupa. Ela está jogando Ela está testando os limites. E é interessante porque ela sabe que o Iger, apesar de provavelmente não ter o rabo preso com ela, o Iger tem ambições políticas. Então, quanto menos, digamos, situações polêmicas ele tiver na vida pré-campanha dele, tanto melhor. E eu acho que é com isso que ela joga. É que nem aquele cara que é provocado para entrar na briga, mas ele está com a roupa novinha, que ele está estreando, e ele acha que talvez seja melhor evitar a briga para não se sujar ou não se rasgar.
Because Sparrow's now saying there's a second meeting coming. The challenge isn't, we're already seeing the beginnings of his response because the trades are attacking her. Never seen that before. I've never seen that. She's always been protected by the trades. The trades are attacking her one after the other. They're attacking the Ray movie one after the other. Iger's already told them, start creating the narrative that she doesn't know what she's doing. This isn't the narrative. He's literally, the narrative, Iger offered her, I'm going to let you go with honor. Just shut up and take the honor. Oh, you want to fight me? Well, now we're going to fight. And the whole thing that you built up is your public reputation. Do you think she imagined, Kathleen Kennedy imagined that 3 trades would mock her Ray movie the next day? Do you think she imagined that? I don't think that was.
No, not at all. Not at all. Usually she has a good grip on the throats of the trades. So essentially, you're saying that she was acting out after being, spoken down to by Iger at the meeting, and also she never wanted this Viking funeral to begin with.
She doesn't want to go.
Signaled. Right.
She doesn't want to go. I mean, Sparrow was reporting 3 months ago that when Lindelof, and Sparrow reported this about 4 months ago, when Lindelof publicly announced his movie that he's now vanished from, right? 4 months ago. It feels like it was 20 years ago, right? It was only 4 months ago. Damon Lindelof announced his movie that Sparrow said he didn't have any authorization for this either. Kathleen was just chatting with him about it, but like your sources, that she's never been able to get any traction on it. And so he said, screw it, I'll just announce it anyway. This is their modus operandi, as you know, at Bad Robot. So he just did it. He announced it, and Sparrow reported at the time, Kennedy went to Iger and said, hey, well, I guess this is now the cat's out of the bag. The public is expecting his movie. So can we extend my contract now so I can manage it? And he said, no, it's not a real movie, right? We're not going to extend your contract. She doesn't want to leave. So she's doing everything possible to make it impossible for Iger to get rid of her. Her betting is that Iger is going to be...
Basicamente, a dela é, como a gente diz aqui no Brasil, ela não evacua e também não desocupa a moita. E isso cria uma certa neurose, porque esses projetos não acontecem e, ao mesmo tempo, ela não deixa que o pessoal que sabe minimamente o que fazer, se ela não deixa que eles façam alguma coisa, nada acontece, e quando acontece é feito às pressas, é mal feito, e o resultado são essas coisas que todos nós conhecemos.
Whatever economic issues and financial issues are happening, that Iger's going to get JPEG'd out and she'll still be left standing. I don't think that's how it's going to play out.
Okay, let's move on to what your source Sparrow has told you about what happened with the Ray movie announcement at Star Wars Cremation 2023. My spies have heard some preliminary rumblings, a few rumors they're trying to verify, but they haven't come up with anything they're comfortable with reporting as of yet. So what does Sparrow say about what happened? Is it real, according to Sparrow, or is it Kennedy just trolling fans?
Okay. So, the Celebration got a lot of people very riled up, right? But for me, I was like, well, okay, this is the next step in the chess game we're playing. Our good friend Corian Witch on Residence actually did a wonderful video on his channel about the chess game that Bob Iger is playing with Kathleen Kennedy, and people should check that out. And because the events that happened this weekend fit into it. But so I waited patiently because I knew my instinct was this is an illusory narrative. That was my instinct. I put it on my Patreon. This is a false narrative being created by someone who is attempting to create a narrative. And of course, as I've often said and very openly critiqued, the reason she does this is that it works. The fandom immediately has an emotional reaction, and they're Chicken Little, the sky is falling, and they run around, and it causes the chaos that she likes to cause. She is an agent of chaos. Kathleen Kennedy is an agent of chaos, right? That's the role she's playing in our lives, and unfortunately, we keep falling for it. So I waited patiently. I put out my theories on my Patreon as to what intuitively I sensed was happening here. And then I just waited until Sparrow got in touch with me. And there are people out there right now in the community and in the YouTubers saying this person isn't real, he's imaginary. I'll let you believe that. I've met them. I know who they are. And you have to go off my reputation as someone who's been doing this for about 2 years now on YouTube. And I will add one thing before I go into what Sparrow said. I don't know if you saw this, Doomcock. The LA Times, the Los Angeles Times, did an interview with me 2 days ago. I don't know if you saw that. I'll send you a link if you haven't seen it.
I did not.
Yeah, the LA Times did a whole lovely photo of me, and they interviewed me to analyze what's happening with regard to other screenwriters and the current business, because there's talk of potential screenwriter strike coming in about 3 weeks, right? And so the LA Times did a feature article on me just 2 days ago. So I'm in the game, guys. I mean, that's just the reality of things. You have to deal with it. And the fact is, if the LA Times is talking to me, what do you think is happening in the screenwriting world? Maybe my opinion has some value to the fandom, in my opinion, right?
Well, it sounds like you
So
are
now
definitely wired in. There's no doubt about that. The Los Angeles Times wouldn't go to you if you were not known as a screenwriter.
And just 2 weeks ago, Fortune magazine, when Miss Alonso was let go, Fortune magazine quoted me as a quote unquote Disney expert, right, in analyzing what happened with Miss Alonso. And so you take that as you will. You can say, oh, Cameron's full of it, his source isn't real, whatever. I'm just going to lay out for you what I know to be true, at least what my source, what I've come to trust, has conveyed. So let's get to it. So finally, on Monday, I was waiting patiently. I finally got word back. I think it was actually early Tuesday that I got word back from Sparrow, because I can't control them. They've got to protect their own position inside of Disney, so they have to be careful how and when they send me information. I don't reach out to them; they reach out to me. That's our understanding, right? It's a bat phone situation, and so the bat phone rang, and I was like, "Okay, we got something." So I'm just going to give you some highlights of stuff, information that was given to me by Sparrow about this. So the two headlines are this. Number one, Sparrow says Lucasfilm employees were, quote, shocked, end quote, by what happened at Celebration. Most of the employees did not see it coming. It wasn't on the schedule. There are a lot of things that happened, like this magical acolyte movie, which can't pay people more than $5,000 to go away, but has hundreds of millions of dollars allegedly. This acolyte panel that came out of nowhere, and then Daisy Ridley being brought up on stage, deer in headlights for this alleged movie, right? And so most of the people in Lucasfilm are like, what is this all about? How did this happen without any of us knowing about it? And so Sparrow says this was a tightly kept secret. This whole announcement was a tightly kept secret between Kathleen Kennedy and her immediate inner circle, right? And that's why the majority of the company didn't know that it was coming, and were, to use their words, shocked by it. So I'm going to actually quote you exactly what they said. Quote, "The office is more than a little shocked about the Mangold, the Night, which is this alleged Ray movie, and the Acolyte announcements. These things didn't seem to have any planning outside of Kennedy's inner circle. One staffer said," now they quote the staffer, "I thought all new projects were on."
Quando ele fala de Homem de Ouro, na verdade é uma tradução literal do James Mangold, que seria o diretor que ela quer que dirija os filmes, ou pelo menos um dos filmes que viria depois desse aí.
On hold until Sauron was out of the building, end quote. And if you remember this, Dunga, you were the one who reported that the Eye of Sauron is Jon Favreau's pet name for Ms. Kennedy.
This is true.
Olha só que coisa, eles estão falando que o Jon Favreau, que, entre aspas, ou dizem, nos últimos anos tem vivido as turras com esta senhora, a apelidou carinhosamente de o Olho de Sauron, que seria assim um apelido interno, né? Que não deixa de ser engraçado. E talvez seja mais engraçado ainda se algum dia isso vir à tona e for confirmado, se tornar real. Torçamos para que sim.
This is what my sources told me.
And the last tweet I made before I was kicked off of Twitter was I called her the Eye of Sauron, unknowing that it was because your video came out the next day after my Twitter had been taken down, and I called her the Eye of Sauron, and my Twitter was taken down, and I think it was because I accidentally used his pet word. So some of our buddies Lucasfilm said, "I think this dude is working with Favreau. He's using her names. We got to get him out." And they called some friend of theirs at Twitter, and it was taken care of, right? It's interesting that the Sauron name is still being used. So that's a direct quote. So that's the first point, which ties in directly to what your source.
O cara usa o apelido secreto da Kathleen Kennedy na Lucasfilm e o Twitter dele é derrubado temporariamente. Aí tem.
I'm telling you that if the majority of Lucasfilm did not know this, then this is not something that was approved. We have a bunch of this company to know about, right? It's not something as important as this, which would shake up the town, as we've seen. Now the trades are weighing out against it. We'll talk about that in a moment. But also, most importantly, Dumka, and this is something the fandom keeps forgetting, just 4 weeks ago, Bob Iger said in an interview, he said, we're going to be, quote, very careful about what we do with Star Wars movies, right? And we're going to be very cautious about it. And suddenly they announced this movie with this. I like Daisy Ridley as an actress, but she didn't succeed in that role because she wasn't given any material to succeed. And her toys don't sell. You don't sell Rey toys. There's no money in Rey toys, right? There's money in Grogu toys.
Como visto na última live, na live de ontem, que está disponível, eu mostrei um trecho do World Class Bullshitters, que é um outro youtuber, um outro grupo de youtubers bem legal lá. Acho que o cara é britânico, se não falha a memória. Mostrando a visita dele a uma loja de departamentos, uma loja de brinquedos, depois do Natal. E o que é que estava lá encalhado no balaião? O quê? Bonequinhos da Rey e de outros personagens da trilogia Disney.
Right? There's money in other toys. I was in a store in Pennsylvania just 2 days ago, And they had Mandalorian toys everywhere. Those are selling. I didn't see a single Rey or sequel trilogy toy, not one, right? And so that there's no economic value in that. And Ms. Ridley is not a big star, regrettably. You know, her star fizzled out after those movies. She's doing a couple small indie films, right? Adam Driver has a real career. She doesn't, right? And so that it's not like there's an industry pushing for her. And it goes against what he himself said, that we're not going to be very careful about any new movies. So you've got this movie with Damon Lindelof, who, at least whether one likes his work or not, is a successful screenwriter, at least in the sense he's in the game, right? People give him movies. He drops out. And then Stephen Knight, who's doing Peaky Blinders now, but you know, he made like an Oscar-nominated movie 20 years ago, and then he became a game show host. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I think, was his creation, right? That's what this guy's been known for. And so this guy's trying to get back in the game as a movie writer. And you got Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, fellow Pakistani, I'm Pakistani, and who has won a couple of Oscars for documentaries. He's never made a feature film, right? I have friends of mine who have won awards for documentaries and tried to break into features. Completely different animal. I mean, they know how to interview people, then how to edit footage. That's what a documentary is. They don't necessarily know how to get an actor on their mark or do special.
Aí ele está falando desse povo do cinema independente que até ganham Oscars por documentários, mas que querem fazer a transição para filmes de ficção e que sabem entrevistar pessoas, sabem fazer enquadramento, mas não entendem nada de clima, não entendem nada de ação, suspense, drama, comédia. Gente que eu arriscaria, por exemplo, com a Chloe Zhao, que ganhou o Oscar por aquele semi-documentário, que só tem uma atriz lá, Frances McDormand, e o resto é tudo gente comum. A mulher é acostumada a filmar com um orçamento de $500, e daí os caras dão lá Eternals para ela fazer. Uma mulher que não só não tem nenhum contato com cinema de ficção, já que ela é documentarista, mas ainda por cima com uma história épica de centenas de bilhões de dólares de orçamento baseada em quadrinhos. Basicamente, seria como pegar alguém na rua que sabe andar de bicicleta e dizer, por favor, agora pilote um caça F-22. Boa sorte.
Special effects or create dialogue that's convincing, that's not from an interview. That's a whole other skill set. So this woman has never done a feature film. You're going to give her $200 million, $300 million. You know, the only dramatic experience she has was she was given 2 episodes of Ms. Marvel. And I have multiple friends who work on Ms. Marvel said, yeah, they had to reshoot the whole thing. It didn't work because she didn't know what she was doing. I mean, does this, again, it doesn't fit in the actual thing of what Bob Iger said. It doesn't rationally make any sense. That's the point I keep saying to the fandom is, does this make any sense? And people's response is, no, but I'm angry. Oh, well, that's exactly what she wants, right? She's an agent of chaos. It doesn't make any sense.
Essa diretora que ele citou, a Obaid-Chinoy, não me lembro o nome dela agora, ela é uma diretora de documentários paquistanesa, feminista, da turma woke, né? E para esse povo a realidade ela é liquefeita, gasosa, vaporosa. Tudo pode ser relativizado, menos as coisas das quais eles acreditam. Então, por exemplo, dizer que a habilidade dela para documentários não se aplica à ficção, o único argumento que ela tem a dizer, olha, tudo que eu tenho a dizer é que eu estou furiosa, estou braba, estou irritada. Só que isso não é argumento. A gente não pode, por exemplo, mudar a lei da gravidade porque a gente acha isso injusto. Eu também acho injusto. Eu também gostaria de sair voando por aí como super-homem, né? Só que não é assim que as coisas acontecem.
So that's the first thing Sparrow said, is that nobody about this, right? I've got a few other things Sparrow said and about what's happening internally. The other thing, now Sparrow, I'll say, did not address directly whether Iger approved this. My intuition is he didn't, because it doesn't make any sense based on everything I just said. But Sparrow so far has not addressed that. But what Sparrow did say was this, and this is news, and this is interesting, because the last time they said something like this, your sources also confirmed something like this. So I'm going to quote. So, quote, Iger has requested another face-to-face meeting with Kathleen Kennedy. He also wants Kennedy to bring what the sources describe as the reaction poll data from Celebration, end quote. Now, they didn't explain what the reaction poll data is. My instinct is that they probably poll.
Agora eu tô achando que o Iger também tá maluquinho. Porque ele está pedindo uma pesquisa, números, das reações da Celebration. Eu sei que atualmente o YouTube tem feito aquele esquema de não mostrar o número de dislikes, o que dá a entender que deve ter sido enorme o número de dislikes dessa senhora. Mas será que precisa? Será que é necessário uma pesquisa? Será que aquela cena que eu já mostrei para vocês aqui, que mostra ela entrando sob o maior silêncio, sem uma única palma, se tivesse grilos lá, a gente seria capaz de ouvir os grilos fazendo cri, cri, cri. Virtualmente, qualquer um que entrou no palco foi aplaudido. O criador da série Andor foi aplaudido. O diretor de designer foi aplaudido. O protagonista foi razoavelmente aplaudido. Eu acho que se tivesse a tia que faz o buffet para toda a equipe técnica, certamente ela teria sido aplaudida também. E quando a apresentadora chamou, e com vocês a presidente da Lucasfilm, de produtora executiva, a rainha da cocada preta, Kathleen Kennedy, não houve uma única palma, um único yay, não houve nada. Procurem esse vídeo, dê uma olhada no outro vídeo que eu fiz. Ela levanta a mão rapidamente, por 1 ou 2 segundos, depois baixa a mão, porque viu que não está agradando ninguém, e rapidamente, para encurtar a sua caminhada da vergonha, né? Shame, shame, né? Ela senta o mais rápido que pode para evitar um constrangimento maior. Então, eu fico perguntando a mim mesmo, essa era uma plateia cuidadosamente selecionada, gente extremamente educada lá, né? Lá de London, né? E eles pensaram, nós não seremos desagradáveis com essa senhora, porque podemos ser expulsos do auditório, mas podemos, pelo menos, não aplaudi-la. E foi o que aconteceu. Então, eu me pergunto, é necessário algum tipo de pesquisa?
Some of the people who were participating in Celebration, not everybody, they have poll companies go there and ask some people questions here. Hey, over you, can you fill out the survey? Which presentations did you like? What did you not like? And apparently, Mr. Iger saying, you come to my office, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that's going on, face to face. Again, you must face Darth Vader again, right? And so here we go. So, and now, but also bring this data. I want to talk about this. And what would be in that data? The poll Celebration data, a poll data from Celebration would be, let's look at how people reacted afterwards to the Ahsoka trailer. And how do they rate it? And let's look at how people reacted to this Rey announcement. And let's look at how people reacted to this Acolyte announcement you made, right? Let's look at the number difference and see where the enthusiasm of the fandom is of these things that you're talking about, right? I think there's going to be multiple purposes to that meeting. One is to confront saying, so what were you doing there? We did, as you and I both reported independently, she had an unhappy meeting with Iger about 2 weeks ago, right?
Right.
Keep your mouth shut at Celebration and go, right? She didn't do that. So he's going to talk about it. It's like, so you're announcing things when I said we're going to be very careful about movies, right? And look at how people are reacting to your announcements. So we're going to have a long talk now about your future at the company.
Helen Hadsell was able to win any competition she took part in. She was known as the contest queen because she had won 7 trips to Paris, boats, houses. She would basically take part in any sweepstake she read about, any contest, and she would just win. That made my documentary crew, and I asked Helen, how do you do that? And she spoke about this thing called the Silva technique. Helen, you see, was Jose Silva's former PR manager. She had the benefit of learning closely from that man. Now, Jose Silva was a radio repairman who lived in the border town of Laredo, Texas.
Vendendo anúncio.
With that,
well, regardless.
Anúncio do método Silva. Ai, meu Deus do céu. Essa é velha. Silva Mind Control. Essa aí eu acho que se tiver alguém assistindo, a maior parte do pessoal que está assistindo isso nem era nascido. Era um daqueles livros. O Silva Mind Control era algo como Lair Ribeiro antes de Lair Ribeiro. Paulo Coelho antes de Paulo Coelho. Voltemos à nossa programação normal.
Polling data at the actual Star Wars celebration.
Yes.
One need only look at Twitter. One need only look at reaction videos on channels such as mine, because at this point, given how poorly season 3 of The Mandalorian is unfolded, along with this announcement of a Rey movie trotting Daisy Ridley out on stage, I was just like, this is schizophrenic Star Wars, is what I called it. I said that, you raised hopes with the Ahsoka announcement, and then you dashed them with this Rey announcement. And frankly,
that's what
disgusted.
It is. That, my view, the intuition was, why does she even make these announcements? Because it takes away all the fire from Jon Favreau's incredible success with that Ahsoka trailer, which looks good. It looks really good. I want to see this show. And most people do. And so, but she announced those all before his does. So everyone's already grumbling the fandom. And so the fire's already been diminished by the time it comes out. That's part of her strategy to undercut this guy, right? But you also said something. You're right. The fans, Twitter, social media, people are upset. You and others have made videos talking about how this is a crazy thing if you're going to do it. But look, Doomcock, look who else is upset. The trades are upset. The official Hollywood trades are attacking Kathleen Kennedy. It began with Matthew Bellamy, who is the founder-in-chief of Puck. He used to be the editor-in-chief of Hollywood Reporter. They made his own independent news website called Puck, which has a lot of inside information. It's a guy that can call Iger and take him out to lunch. He used to be the editor-in-chief of Hollywood Reporter. He's connected, right? And he put out this weekend, Matt Bellamy put out, just want to let you know, none of these are greenlit, right? Matt Bellamy said, what I've been seeing, he said,
Basicamente, ela foi pega com as calças na mão e sabe disso. Só que, como alguns políticos sul-americanos que a gente conhece, a cara de pau, a capacidade de negação histérica é maior do que a realidade. A grande diferença é que, por exemplo, aqui no Brasil, a gente tem toda a imprensa do lado dos mentirosos. Lá, no caso dela, parte da imprensa de entretenimento está começando a cansar, provavelmente porque não estão ganhando o seu jabazinho, não está mais garantido. E isso está provocando brechas no escudo desta senhora.
Reporter said none of these movies she announced are greenlit. So he's confirmed. That's one. So that's one. Okay, that's one guy. Then the next day, the Hollywood Reporter, his former employer, right, comes out with an article analyzing the problems and the fans' unhappiness with Mando this season and all that. But what does that article begin with? It begins. Let me see if I can pull up the exact quote here. I probably have it right here. So this is the beginning of that article, which is critical of Star Wars. Begins with this quote: "Last week at Star Wars Celebration, Disney released a flurry of exciting announcements, such as the Ahsoka trailer and 3 new movies." And this is where the snark comes in. The reporter then goes, "Which are really, truly going to happen this time. Promise." Right? They're mocking her.
Right.
It's the opening line. They're mocking her, saying she's announced things for 10 years that don't happen. But she's been announcing these for 10 years that don't happen, and no one has called her out on it in the trades, because the trades serve the system.
É basicamente os fãs de Star Wars esperando a sua picanha, que não vem desde 2014. E agora ela está, digamos, ganhando tempo, ou tentando ganhar tempo com abóboras, como o Mandaloriano, a Choca, né? Essas coisas aí. Então, são a abóbora do Jedi.
And they've been protecting her for 10 years. Suddenly, Matt Bellamy is saying, these movies aren't greenlit, so don't buy it. Hollywood Reporter comes out with number 2 the next day saying, yeah, I'm sure these movies are coming. Yeah. So that's a direct attack and mockery of her, right, as the opening line of the article.
Right.
And number 3, today, Variety, which is Hollywood Reporter's competitor, comes out with the third blow, right? A Variety comes out, and let me see if I can pull that exact.
Nessas horas eu fico pensando como deve ser a vida do Alex Kurtzman, que é o cara que domina Star Trek na TV, que tem plenos poderes para fazer lixo e realmente não está nem aí. Ele tem muito menos oposição por parte dos fãs do que a Kathleen Kennedy lá na co-irmã, simplesmente porque ninguém mais assiste Star Trek. E porque, de um modo ou de outro, nos últimos 20 anos, mais ou menos, 25 anos, a popularidade de Star Wars, por pior que seja, sempre foi maior do que Star Trek. Então, ironicamente, ele está protegido de uma enxurrada de críticas e vaias, simplesmente porque ninguém mais se importa, que é justamente o caso contrário dela. Ainda há quem se importe com isso, o que eu acho uma pena. Eu agora estou nessa, só comendo a minha pipoca e assistindo essa novela mexicana, que está muito mais divertida do que qualquer coisa que a Disney tenha feito com Star Wars.
A quote that they did, where basically,
ou seja, na briga entre ela e o Iger, eu torço pela briga.
Variety does an entire article saying that the reaction to this Rey movie is quote unquote lukewarm, and they quote a bunch of fans saying, I don't really feel the need for it. So
Right.
that's the third piece. Now, from our great Ian Fleming, but maybe they'll rewrite this in the Ian Fleming rewrites they're doing, right? But in the original James Bond, Ian Fleming would said, once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action. So we now have Matt Bellamy at Puck, Hollywood Reporter, and Variety one day after each other attacking this Rey movie. That's
Right.
coordinated action. And I personally believe it's probably because they've been given the green light from someone in Bob Iger's office saying it's time to take her down. Because we've seen this. We've seen the trade serve the industry.
Uma das coisas que dá para deduzir disso é que aquele sorriso da bruxa, da Kathleen Kennedy, aquele sorriso de orelha a orelha, pior que sorriso de professor de aeróbica, sabe? Aqueles que não saem nem a tapa, assim. É pura enganação. É que nem aquele cara que apanha na briga, mas não perde o sorriso, porque vai demorar até aparecer o roxo dos hematomas. Então, ele continua sorrindo, né? E fazendo o melhor que pode, mas blefando o tempo todo. Se essa senhora joga pôquer, ela deve ter uma cara de pau extraordinária para blefar. E é bem possível que ela tenha aprendido isso jogando pôquer.
They are
Yes.
not. And so if they're always are harping the same message that this movie isn't real, that's the message someone wants people to get. And it is.
Imagina só, a mulher está há mais de uma década prometendo toneladas de coisas que não se realizam e quando chegam a se realizar são uma porcaria, sabe? Se ela fosse inarticulada, eu poderia dizer que ela é a gêmea perdida da Dilma, porque esses filmes estão para Star Wars, assim como o metrô da Copa de 2014 está para a Dilma, basicamente, para os governos ou o semigoverno do Dilmão.
Isn't the message which others in the fandom are going with, but that's the reality of the industry.
That's true. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my reaction as a fan.
Yes.
When I see this unfold, and then I also see Daisy Ridley personally trotted out on the stage, it lends an air of veritas to the proceedings, of truthfulness.
Sure.
But upon reflection, when I thought about it, I was like, well, would Kathleen Kennedy bring poor Daisy Ridley out on the stage with some kind of empty promise that this movie is going to happen? I mean, would she be that cruel? And the answer is...
Ask Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins was brought on the stage on Celebration to announce her movie, and that movie is canceled.
So yes, these people on the Kathleen Kennedy side of the company are fairly reckless about these.
Patty Jenkins, que foi a diretora dos 2 filmes da Mulher Maravilha, que estava cotada para dirigir o Rogue Squadron, chegou a fazer anúncios bombásticos, estava toda animada de poder ser uma diretora mulher, dirigindo um filme de mulher, para a mulher, pela mulher, produzido por uma mulher, para uma empresa de mulher, da força, porque a força é feminina, a força é sei lá o quê. Ela não aguentou e encheu o saco desse vai, não vai, porque, na verdade, nunca ia a lugar nenhum, né? Ela encheu o saco desse não evacua e não larga a moita da KK e resolveu pular fora.
Kinds of things. They would think nothing of trotting poor Daisy Ridley, a down-on-her-luck actress, on stage, getting her hopes up in order to throw a smokescreen out there for fans.
One is, let's just give context to Daisy Ridley, who I said I like as an actress. I would love to cast her in something. I think she's a talented actress that was just given garbage material, right? And I think most of the actors in the Star Wars fake trilogy were good actors that were given garbage material. So first with Rey, people say, well, why would she agree to it? You know, you're telling me Cameron's not real? Why wouldn't she agree to it? Her career's in the dumps right now. Not deservedly, but it's there. She's struggling to get work. She gets a couple of small indie films, right? That's what she's got. You know, she's got nothing going. So just this announcement has everyone talking about Daisy Ridley. Who was talking about Daisy Ridley a week ago? Anybody? No one in the industry was. So her people, her agents, were like, look, whatever, this movie's never going to happen. Don't worry about it. Patty Jenkins is going to get her movie. Why? Don't worry. This movie's not going to happen. But baby, go out there on the stage because you're going to give us the leverage we need to pitch you for other big movies. We're going to get you real work as a result of this PR. So of course she's going to agree to it. This is the most attention she's gotten in a couple of years.
Well, Cameron, thank you very, very much for taking the time to clarify these questions. And congratulations on that interview and on your Patreon, patreon.com/Cameron.
E basicamente é isso então, né? A coitada da Daisy Ridley aceitou participar desse evento. Ela deve ter ganhado algum cachê, pelo menos, para subir lá no palco, usando o seu vestido vermelho, né? Enchendo o palco de charme. Afinal de contas, alguém tem que ter algum charme, né? Então, que seja ela, pelo menos. E a coitada em termos, né? Porque esse pessoal, acredito que mesmo nos filmes pequenos lá, eles ganhem bem. Mas a carreira dela realmente está indo de mal a pior, porque provavelmente os estúdios, as empresas grudaram nessa personagem muito mal escrita, né? Que ela interpreta da melhor maneira que pode alguém que foi naturalmente mal escrito, mal gerado, mal produzido, mal criado, né? Mal criado num sentido mais amplo. Então, o que ela vai fazer? Obviamente que ela aceita participar disso, rezando, torcendo para que realmente venha algum filme bom, né? Porque os atores são como os encanadores, e eu ouso dizer, como os professores. Os professores, então, e os atores são como os encanadores. E como são os encanadores? O encanador é responsável pelo cano. O encanador não é responsável pelo que entra, nem pelo que sai do cano. O encanador é responsável pelo cano. Do mesmo modo, o professor não é responsável pelo que entra e pelo que sai da escola. Ele é responsável pela sala de aula, pela escola. O ator, de certo modo, tem uns que são espetaculares, que conseguem preservar a sua dignidade, mesmo estando num lixo. Mas, para isso, é preciso de décadas. É preciso que a pessoa tenha uma presença tão grande na tela, no palco, uma presença tão poderosa, que só a presença dele já baste. E ela, por melhor que seja, ela é muito jovem ainda. Essa trilogia seria o grande lançamento dela, que, infelizmente, foi um afundamento graças à qualidade do texto. É muito raro que a gente tenha artistas que sejam capazes de ser maiores que o próprio texto. É preciso que eles tenham uma mística estabelecida, uma lenda criada, e isso, infelizmente, não foi o caso de Daisy Ridley. Dizem que isso era o caso de Laurence Olivier, que se Laurence Olivier subisse num palco e começasse a recitar o menu de um restaurante, ou, sei lá, a lista telefônica, ou a lista de ganhadores da loteria, sei lá, qualquer coisa, ele seria bem-sucedido porque ele era Laurence Olivier. Mas ela, coitadinha, era uma moça esforçada, é uma moça esforçada, está tentando. Até hoje, eu só me lembro de um único caso em que um ator, no meio de uma verdadeira tragédia cinematográfica, de um filme ruim que dói sob todos os aspectos, continuou mostrando a sua presença cênica. E é um cara que participou de um dos piores desastres, uma das piores sequências já criadas pelo homem e por fórmulas de vida baseadas em carbono, que foi Highlander 2, E este homem era Sir Sean Connery. Sean Connery, que fazia o mentor do MacLeod, o Ramírez, o Juan Villalobos Ramírez. A gente via que o Sean Connery estava sempre sorrindo, aquele sorriso de superioridade, não o sorriso da Kathleen Kennedy, aquele eu vou sorrir até dar tempo de eu sair da frente das câmeras e passar uma pomada nos hematomas. Não! O sorriso dele era: eu sou o Sean Connery. Esse filme pode ser uma merda, mas eu sou o Sean Connery. E diferente de outros atores menos experientes ou com menos mística, ele não tentava juntar os cacos do filme e colar para ver se fazia sentido. Ah, como é que é? Vou imaginar lá o Duncan, não, o Conor McLeod lá, né? O Christoph Lambert, pegando os cacos e juntando, né, para tentar arrumar o filme. Não, 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 não. Sean Connery não fazia isso. A Sean Connery bastava apenas ser Sean Connery. E isso fazia toda a diferença. E, infelizmente, a pobre Daisy Ridley, infelizmente, fez o melhor que pôde, se esforçou, mas o material que ela recebeu era um lixo. Olhando ela assim, com esse cabelo curtinho, nesse vestido extremamente elegante, me vem à mente a lembrança de Audrey Hepburn. E eu digo, eu sou contra remakes, mas eu acho que se alguém fosse fazer um remake de bonequinha de luxo agora, teria que ser com Daisy Ridley. E digo mais, um bom motivo para fazer um remake é que o filme tem muito pouca coisa a ver com o livro. O livro é chocante de tão diferente que é o filme. Se alguém quisesse fazer bonequinha de luxo, o livro, ou melhor, assim como teve o Drácula de Bram Stoker, bonequinha de luxo de Truman Capote, teria que escalar Daisy Ridley. E o filme, não se enganem, seria bem mais dramático e com um final para lá de estranho. Eu não vou falar aqui, caso alguém tenha curiosidade de ler o livro. Certo, pessoal? Então, com isso, eu me despeço desta live e agradeço a presença de vocês, bravos e corajosos, que me acompanharam nesta noite solitária de sábado. E deixarei, então, a live numa reprise para vocês que perderam o início poderem dar uma olhadinha e entenderem o que está se passando nessa verdadeira guerra, que já não é mais uma guerra fria, e que pode muito bem descambar para uma reação em cadeia de Araquiri, que tomará conta de Hollywood, se essa senhora for obrigada a esvaziar suas gavetas. E isso, para mim, seria delicioso. Isso é muito mais legal do que qualquer filme que ela já produziu. E, mais importante, está de graça para todos nós acompanharmos e nos deleitarmos através desta maravilha da comunicação que é a internet. Então, eu me despeço de vocês e até breve, se o Lex Luthor deixar e o Brahma permitir. Fui!